How are you doing? This is Stephen Ruckman with Merk Farms Hunting and continuing with the video series, video blog for our members, helping explain all kinds of things from hunting land, where to hunt, functions of the website, and there's more features that I'm going to roll out over time. Today what I want to do is go over an important part of the website that was added within the last month or two, and that is individual tract ratings. And where that's come about is so many times hunters ask me, well, what do you think about the land? What do you think about the tract? You know, I've cut a video on where I believe you should focus on hunting if you're looking for land, whether with me or someone else. And now I'm getting into what I consider to be individual tract ratings. So now on the website, whenever you, it's one of the first couple pages, you click the menu, you'll see tract rating, and I'm going to go over it. What do you think about the tract? I'm just going to take a minute to kind of read and then fill in. But as I say, as much as I try to answer this question, you know, really at the end of the day, don't have any control over the wildlife, weather, hunting practices, neighbors, schedules of people's hunting, disease, predators, crops, timbers, many other factors that go into this. You know, it's like I tell people, you know, this is closer to gambling than buying. You know, working with hunting land and going out hunting is not like going to the grocery store. You know, a lot of factors come in, and it's again, you know, it's closer to gambling, which one of my tract ratings, you know, I've broken things down into 3 categories. You'll see next to the tracts, one is lucky, one is manageable, and then one is likely. But to continue on, you know, keep in mind that I've got a lot of videos on YouTube of the properties. You know, definitely look at the properties video where I cut them. Also, I try to collect any type of pictures, trail cams, past harvests. Again, it's a little bit on honor system. If it's provided to me, I assume that it's correct. You know, don't exactly know every last thing about where every deer was taken. So generally speaking, these tract ratings is focused on deer and possibility of good deer for the area. That's important as well. You know, what's good for a certain area in Florida and Alabama is going to be different than what's good for certain areas of Kentucky, Indiana, etc. So you have to understand these ratings are basically, you know, what the valuation is based upon the area. You know, if I say it's likely to have a good deer and it's one of our tracts in Florida, you know, that good deer is definitely still not going to measure up to a good deer in, say, Ohio. So you have to keep that in mind. So again, you know, 3 category rating system shown below. I'm going to go over them. And again, some of this is tied into the pricing analysis and some of it's not. Remember, we'll go over in greater detail, but a lot of time the pricing is overwhelmingly set, you know, by owner expectations more than anything. Let's move on. Okay, first category is lucky. Like I said, you'll see 3 different possibilities next to the aerial, next to the price, next to the location. Lucky, manageable, and likely. Lucky. All right, in general, this tract is more than likely too small to realistically have much more of an opinion other than you just have to be there and get lucky. Most tracts are going to fall into this. Continuing, it's widely known deer have ranges of hundreds and closer to thousands of acres, especially during peak hunting times such as the rut. If you're on a tract that's smaller, realistically, you just have to be there and have everything work out. Overwhelmingly, most every tract is realistically in this category due to size. Please do additional research on the areas. We have many tracts that will be in this category, but the county itself has history of many booners and other records. Again, as I say, and it's true if you look at the website, most of the tracts are going to have a rating of lucky because realistically it's too small. You know, most tracts I deal with probably 80 to 150 acres in size. Anyone who tells you that they know for sure that there's a big deer there or they know for sure what's going to happen on that property is basically either uninformed or just making it up. The reality is that you have to get lucky on a property like that. You know, if you're hunting 80 acres, more than likely in that area, there's many 80 to 100 acres stacked together. You know, one deer's home range, there may be 8 to 10 different landowners, 8 to 10 different, you know, hunting practices. Probably a good highway or two, dividing that, several roads. So you just have to be reasonable and realistic. And the overwhelming, most of the hunting access you're going to get, especially in your good states, have been divided over hundreds of years. And so realistically, the tract size is going to be what you need to enjoy going hunting. You need to enjoy being there. You need to enjoy the person or two you're splitting the hunting access with, because realistically, you're going to have to get lucky to get a very good deer on a tract size of, relatively small size. Most tracts are going to be in your lucky category. Again, enjoy go, but be reasonable about your expectations. Unless you've got thousands of acres to manage a deer's birth to harvest, you're going to have to get lucky. And so most tracts are going to have that, because honestly, that is my honest evaluation. You're going to have to get lucky. You're going to have to be there. All right. Next level up, I guess, if you're talking about quality deer, is manageable. You may see that next to some. In general, this is a tract when evaluated, even when considering size, seems to have a manageable expectation. Some strategy and tactics can come into play. Possibly the rise and run of the land. I'm really big in that. If it goes high and low and high and low, and it's got some fields snaking in and out, it's definitely going to help you out. Other factors that appear to increase the likelihood of housing and holding deer may have been more present. You may also be able to shape the land a little bit more for food plots and other things that increase what you believe to be things that benefit the situation. Also, when evaluated, appearances of other hunting pressure may have been lower than expected. So again, this property here, one thing I hit on, maybe what moved it from lucky to manageable, the owner's okay with you doing food plots. Well, you can go ahead and put those food plots in. Makes it a little bit more manageable. I hate to say about hunting pressure, because obviously I can only review what, the land I'm on. But needless to say, sometimes you can definitely, see a shooting house next property over, and then see 4 on your drive into a property and things like that. Maybe as I'm driving around, I look off to the sides of the roads, how much pull-off activity is going on. Other types of clues that I can try to get some type of an idea of what's going on. But also maybe I know that the neighboring property is a property that doesn't allow hunting. I've got a property in Ohio that hundreds of acres next to it is a park that does not allow any hunting on it. Well, that's going to move that property to definitely more manageable, because just on face, there's a lot of habitat, a lot more acres. You may be hunting 150 acres, but it's attached to 500 or 600 that no hunting is allowed. Well, that's definitely going to be a little more manageable, because just it's known that the hunting pressure isn't going to be nearly as tough on the neighboring properties. So that's a very important key. Maybe know a good bit about the hunting history. Maybe it's a property that we also manage. There's sometimes whenever, I've got current blocks where there's, maybe 1,500 or more acres stacked together. I have a somewhat of an idea of what's going on. Hunters try to communicate a little bit with me. I don't know exactly what's going on, but nonetheless, maybe this area is a little more manageable because I do have some knowledge of what's going on. That being said, I cannot predict the future. Let me tell you what, just because I knew what things were in the past does not have any clue that I'll know what things go on in the future. Things change every year for sure. So there's lucky. More properties than not are going to be in the lucky category just because of size. There's manageable. Maybe it's a little bit bigger size. Maybe you can do food plots. Maybe there's some liberties there. You can really kind of help shape your odds a little better. Maybe it just lays excellent, rise, run, the way the field's snaking in and out. A lot of CRP mixed in. And, maybe, the hunting pressure on the sides may not be as much as usual. Maybe it's a park. I'm big getting close to golf courses. Those are awesome. Deer tend to love those. They get stacked in great. Not a lot of hunting goes on immediately around it. So I've got property that I've work with in Licking County, Ohio, already a great county. There's a golf course within a half mile of there. on face that may be and probably is a little bit more of a lucky property, but may move a little bit more towards the manageable just because it's so close to a golf course that tend to be anchor points for really good deer, not nearly as much hunting pressure, things like that. The final category you may see is likely. All right, likely. And again, this is just kind of my best analysis, ballparking, being there, likely have a shot here. And I'll just read it down. You can read it for yourself. Maybe it's big enough to work with. It's 1,000 acres, 1,500 acres. Maybe the right kind of 400 to 600 acres. Maybe the habitat is just top notch. I call them, sometimes I'm on a place, I just mentioned golf courses. I call it a golf course for deer. It just looks like it's a, it's a shooting gallery. It's just a fabulous, absolutely top-notch place to be. Maybe when walking, it just felt right. It's the same as hunting. I've hunted 30-something years. I've looked at tons of property among my friends and family. I have a widely known reputation for getting on deer. I don't harvest that many because I enjoy the chase. But downright a lot of times my friends and family will be jealous of just how much and how close I'll get myself on deer. So, maybe, it's just my gut. Maybe it just feels right. This feels very deery here. There's just something, it's kind of a feeling that's in the air. This probably likely has got a good deer or two sneaking around in here. Maybe it's just part of an area or block of hunting we know a lot about. 130-something years, been doing this really well for 10. I've worked with the same property from 3 different owners, so I've seen the same areas even turn over a bunch. So maybe also there's great hunting history. I've got a few family properties that I've leased out. I hate to do it. I've got one right now in Harrison County, Indiana. Spent a lot of time hunting on. I have great close encounters, great stories, great hunting, but I've got it put out to a group. Again, I know personal firsthand experience what the hunting's like there, and again, that is one of my properties that is likely. It's only 160 acres, but it's assaulted by crops on all sides. It is CRP'd up, it's cedared up, it's oaked up. I've personally spent much time, spent a lot of time hunting on it. That one I'm safe to say, okay, this is likely because that's something that I know about firsthand, along with some other factors that are there. And again, it's just something about it seems to say there are giants on or nearby. And big thing is you just need to stay quiet and alert and see what happens. Still, at the end of the day, whether it's lucky, manageable, or likely, the number one thing is you have to be there. You have to be there. If you're not there, you're not going to get a chance. And then, just being quiet. I got countless stories, but I remember one time whenever I was doing weekly hunts, perfect example I come back to, this group of 3 or 4 guys, they hunted 2 or 3 days, and they were just sassing me, almost harassing me, bad hunting, no deer, no deer, no deer. Thank God after 2 days or so, the person in their group showed up that I guess knew how to hunt, and then turned things around within 2 days. I think 3 out of 4 of them got a good deer they liked. Well, doing some post-mortem, I went there, checked the property out. Dadgum, they were on their razors at the cameras, first thing before sun up, immediately after sun down. I think, a cigarette or two in the pictures. Okay, you know what? At the end of the day, no matter what is going on, whether it's lucky, manageable, likely, you got to be there. You got to do some type of intelligent hunting, which mostly means dadgum, not being seen, not being heard, and, try not to be smelled as well. There's only so much that can happen with that. But anyway, this is Stephen Ruckman, Merk Farms. I want to go over, that's a function of the website. It's a little bit more deeper explanation. So on every property now, you're going to see lucky, manageable, or likely. And now you've got a good idea of why it has that rating. And again, you can read on it anytime. Also, we'll go over some individual properties on a blog soon. And again, if you need anything, have any questions, make sure to hit me up, Stephen Ruckman, Merk Farms Hunting.